It is the final day. So coming into the last day, I had a 9-point lead. I opened that up by about 5 points from the day prior. 10-point lead, give or take. Again, I'm not looking at that like that's a lead whatsoever. It's only a lead that small if the match is over. And I'm not going to relax the strategy or try to be careful or defend that. That is not a viable strategy. It's critical that I stay on the gears and try to open that gap up to be much larger. So throughout the course of the day, shoot okay. Not the best day of shooting, certainly not as good as the 2 days prior, but ultimately shoot good enough to win, and we'll talk about some of the ways I made that happen right now. So this first stage, you start with a gun on the table unloaded. Basically, I have to work this whole stage right to left. So I'm going to shoot right to left on these two targets, come up and basically work my way around this swinger sequence. It's a relatively medium-paced swinger at very close range, so I double pump that one and then finish on the right. It's kind of sensitive how you hit this position. Where your knee goes down affects your ability to transition seamlessly into the window and your ability to keep this wall out of your way in the final position. You'll see what I mean in a second.
Are you ready? Yep. Stand by.
Load.
You are finished. Unload.
Not bad at all. Pretty solid way to start. Throughout the course of this day, I was very critical over every small mistake, which led to me thinking I was down much farther than I was. You'll see what I mean by that in a few different places as we go forward. Here's attempt number 1 at this stage. We'll just play it.
Stand by.
So the short story basically is that you could have taken this plate here from the back to the left of the position where I started. You can see basically as I engage this, I lean around this wall, take this really deep lean and engage this target. But you can also see right here that I nicked this wall, and it's a full diameter hit on that wall, which means it's a mandatory reshoot. So we'll skip to that video. This is attempt number 2. I changed my strategy a little bit. I saw Nils shoot a different order in these first 2 targets right before my first run, but I did not want to change my plan at the last second and for not a real advantage. So I start on this target instead, the slightly slower target that's buried out deep so that I can roll my weight out on the low guy. See that here? You see I have momentum much faster right there. Into this section. Much more confident execution on that. You see that I can still see the hit on this steel from where I dinged the hard cover on the first attempt. And now I'm looking to get my foot basically right exactly on here with my heel on the ground, the ball of my foot up on the line. And that's going to enable me to get this lean and get at that last target more effectively. Trying to hit specifically the left side of this plate right here, like I'm aiming at the left half of the plate, knowing that, I hit the wall the first time and I really don't want to reshoot it twice. So the first shot goes out a little wide, the second shot connects, and that's that. Very good performance on the whole, another solid stage. This was the big field course for the day, and there are definitely some issues here. We'll talk about those.
Are you ready? Stand by.
I handle this a little bit differently than some people. I like that if I do a wide transition off of here and stay pretty close to this back line, I could see this target right off the jump with covering maybe one more step. A lot of people chose to reload basically off of this target and cover distance to get to about here and then push forward on this one target. I thought this seemed more efficient and I liked it better. It also afforded me more room to get a reload done right here. Not that that ultimately helps me because that reload was pretty bad. So with that dropped reload and the extra shot there, I'm estimating roughly 3/4 of a second down. I think I had a few more Charlies than I would have liked to, something up around a half a dozen or so. So I estimated at this stage probably cost me a maximum of 10 points. I'm thinking at this point in the match that puts me tied for the lead, which I think at the time was roughly correct. But there's still 3 more stages left to shoot, so let's skip to those. This is a pretty fast-paced stage. You'll see what I mean. Basically 2.5 positions with a medium amount of shooting. in layman's terms. I knew this was going to be a pretty high hit factor stage. So you see me handle these first two partials with sort of the bare minimum amount of care, and then I'm flat out on the gas through the whole rest of the stage.
Are you ready? Stand by.
Reload into here, and here's the biggest issue with the stage. Basically, it's critical on higher hit factor stage. Like we always talk about, the time is a bit more important than the points. So extras on steel and problems that lead you waiting for things are kind of the worst case scenario. And you see it at the beginning here, I hit the house on the plate and not the plate itself. So I go to the swinger and it's not there. Basically have to double pump, re-engage that plate. And sort of on the fly change my plan to try to get this target done before, and it doesn't quite work out, so that cost me a bit of time. My initial plan was basically to go plate, 1-2 on the swinger, 3-4-5. After that, I shoot this section right to left instead, and then finish on the right. Very aggressive engagement there. Way more aggressive than most of the other shooters. I was able to scrub off a little bit of that miss on the plate by shooting very aggressively. This still had very good clean points. And again, this was a good, not great performance. But again, I'm looking at this worst case scenario. I'm trying to run my own math. I'm thinking I just lost enough to maybe another potentially 5 to 10 points. What I did not know is on this stage, my closest competitor had a no-shoot hit on one of these partials. I don't know which one. And they played it off very well. They did not tip the hand that happened whatsoever. So I didn't know that I had been given about 20 points at this point. So I was a little bit being a negative Nancy in this section, thinking that things were much worse than they were. This is a single hand shooting stage again. I'm looking at this again, just like the others. Like this is a survival stage. Just be precise in the positioning, hit the steel the first time, and that's really all you can do. This is not a place where I can make a pass by trying to do anything strategically. All I can do is get a consistent score and hope that someone else makes a mistake and gives me points. So this is a pretty unremarkable performance in terms of the strategy. Decent overall. This part's really good. Got that hit really early. Try to shoot my way in a bit here. I think I had one Charlie on this partial, and that was it for the stage. So that's a perfectly fine run, in my opinion. And this was the last stage of the match. Again, I'm under the impression that I'm down 10 to 15 points. I'm thinking that I need a good to great performance in order to have any chance of throwing pasta at the wall and making it stick. I did not know that I was already up about 10 to 15 points, and this stage ends up being a pretty good performance. I shoot very, very aggressively with taking all the movement options possible, and even though I had really loose points, I believe I had 8 or 9 Charlie on this stage. It's a decently high hit factor stage. Those points don't affect me that much, and this ended up being a good performance that potted me a few more raw points to take home the match win. All of this unbeknownst to me at the time.
Stand by.
You're going to see I've learned my lesson by this point. Grab the gun overhand like we talked about. Over aim at this steel to make sure I connect with the surface of the plate and not the steel hut. And you see the look to sky. I am not impressed with this at all. I am not happy in this moment. I know that I've dropped a lot of points. I'm under the impression I could have potentially given up as much as another 5 to 10 match points by my momentary estimation. Right after this happened, I got pulled away to go do drug testing. Apparently in IPSC, that's a thing that they always will test the champions for basically performance-enhancing drugs. I thought they had it all wrong. I was convinced. It took about an hour. And when I got back to hang out with my friends and see the scoreboard, I had won. And that was it was a little bit of an unbelievable moment for me. Obviously, 13-year dream come true, and without necessarily a perfect performance. So I'm very happy still. I'm recording this in the beginning of November, and it still hasn't really worn off. Looking forward to taking a little bit of time and coming back and making it happen again. Whether or not I stay with irons or whether or not I switch to optics divisions remains to be seen. It's going to depend on how the scene looks internationally over the next couple of years before the next World Shoot. Definitely looking forward to messing around with dots and competing against some other top American shooters here in the short term. Thank you for watching, guys. If you enjoy these types of videos, like and subscribe and all that. If you want me to do video services like this for you, send me a YouTube link for what you want edited and sort of establish communications with me. We'll talk about the pricing structure. I'll get you a training plan. I'll get you a little Steve Madden style sketch up of the performance, what I'd like to see you do different. And basically, I'll collect payment from you once I'm positive we're both on the same page about what you need to do to fix things in your training. Hit me up, guys. Later.